All right. So in response to Tim Pool's video that came out, I don't know, maybe what time did it come out here? Not too long ago, today, May 13th. The title is Gas Company Caved, Pays $5 million ransom to restart gas pipeline. Biden blames Russians as gas prices rise. I want to give a perspective from an information security guy. Of course they were going to pay the ransom. First and foremost, people are going to pay the ransom because you got to think of these ransomware, malware groups out there. They're kind of like pirates, right? They're not just thieves, they're pirates. So they have a kind of a code. The reason that people, even the FBI or whatever, is not going to say, well, don't pay the ransom is because these groups also know that if they don't give you the key to unlock the encryption, then that word will pass around, and then nobody will respond to them whatsoever, right? So it's a money making venture for them. They're just pirates of the high sea. That's what they are, right? And am I saying that I completely agree with them? No. But we've always had pirates, right? We've always had pirates. These are just digital pirates, right? Digital pirates used to be the guys that would go out and copy a video game, right? And then sell, or not even sell it, but put it on LimeWire or BitTorrent or something like that, and share it out. And and they called that piracy, right? One person buys the game and 50 million people enjoy it or something like that. Now, I don't quite agree with doing that because, yeah, there's a company that spent time and energy to develop that game. And I think that, or software or, audio disc or whatever, I think that the creators deserve to be compensated for what they put into it. But that's all this is, digital piracy. So it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. It's not. There's a much larger issue here. First and foremost, discount anything that the FBI, DHS, and a few other organizations all working out of the end kick. They know the ground truth. But when you hear people talk about what the FBI's word is on this is politics, and it's not. I guarantee it doesn't reflect the reality of what comes out of the end kick or out of the other FBI, out of the smart guys working this. Purely politics. Of course, they're going to say it's Russia. It's been Russia since after World War II when we needed a new enemy, right? Let's break this down really quickly. Russia has 2 population centers in all of Russia, St. Petersburg and Moscow. Russia is way more afraid of us because we can decimate Russia really quickly. When we talk about nuclear warheads, we just need a couple, right? Whereas like the U.S. has got a hell of a larger population, and we're spread across a larger country. Now, yeah, there's Russians that live all throughout Russia, right? But a vast majority of their population is concentrated in 2 population centers. And if those 2 population centers were taken out, it would completely destroy Russian culture, right? Russians have more to fear about from America. And Russia's been the historical enemy since what's his name? The racist Missouri boy that was president. I can't remember his name. Anyways, he made Russia the enemy. And it's an easy enemy. Nobody understands Russian. Well, some of us do, a little bit. They're a faraway land, They're that invisible enemy that everybody can be rallied against. And it's good fodder for the mindless nitwits out there that feel like they're just doing something by joining behind an enemy. They're like, yay, I hate Russia too. But these people also think long term, as in minutes, not in years, right? So they think that, getting their long term plan is getting 100 likes on their last comment on something. Anyways, not quite long term, I don't think. So Russia, making Russia the enemy of everything about us that's just fodder for nitwits, right? Are you a nitwit? I hope not. And if you are, or if you feel like I'm insulting you, let's do some research. Let's go back in time and see when all this started, right? Anyways, I'm curious. I'm curious if Russia was still part of the Soviet Union, and with as many people trying to go into being socialist in this country, would they see Russia as the ally? That'd be interesting. Would MSNBC and CNN be all about, the Soviets are going to come and save us? I mean, it'd be interesting, right? Anyways, why we can't solve these problems and why these companies are going to pay the ransom for these attacks. By the way, I hate the word cyber. I don't think it means anything, but it used to mean cyber sex, 25 years ago. Anyways, companies are going to pay this, of course, because they haven't done their due diligence in years. Most companies do not pay or invest in the people and the training and in their policies and in their corporate culture enough to mitigate these responses. People think that if you buy a $250,000 appliance and put wires on it, somehow you're protected, and then they're shocked when it doesn't. This is a person problem, a people problem. People are just lazy and greedy. And that's what we're combating here, lazy and greediness. These companies have insurance. They could care less about the data that they lost. They could care less. They could care less if that data included millions of customers' information. They could care less because they purchased insurance to cover this. They don't have to do their due diligence in this country to protect your data or protect the infrastructure. And second, I worked around these ICS SCADA systems for 20 freaking years. And almost all of them are internet enabled to where, for whatever reason, some secretary's computer can be accessed and shut down a pipeline. Those two things should never be connected. And this has been long established that these two things should never be connected. That the ICS and the SCADAs should never be connected to a commercial network. It should never be, there's no reason for it. These systems are just meant to make sure that the machinery works, right? And it's written in the most basic, code. It does use different protocols, of course, but it's written so basically, and it's only because it's just supposed to be interfaces to make machines work. They don't have any other higher function than that. So they're very simple. And having anything from like your, what's it called? HMI, the human machine interface to the computer screen. That'll be the dashboard for the pipeline or the dashboard for the electric company or the dashboard for the water company, so they can see the vital statistics of the machinery on how this stuff's. That stuff is written by what you could be doing in elementary or middle school, basic HTML classes, right? Very easy to compromise, very easy to show an engineer whatever they want to see, right? And then compromise the back end and make everything. This problem is not new. This problem has been around for 20 plus years. Most of these power companies and gas companies and water companies and everybody that serves the fucking grid, they know that they should build into where the important part, the machinery part that serves millions of people, they should be able to always, at a minimum, cast away to where that part of the network is not even on the internet anymore, because it can be operated without the internet. But instead, these boneheads 20 years later still build interfaces that have to be internet connected. There's your problem. Your problem is people are greedy. They're greedy because they don't want to take an extra couple steps. They're greedy because they don't want to take buy somebody to come in and do a hardcore evaluation on this and tell them how to fix these things. And they're greedy because they don't want to spend the money on fixing the things. A lot of times these aren't hard to fix. Now, some places like California Power and Energy, they're completely 100% dependent on the internet. So California, you guys are already hosed. It's just a ticking time bomb. And everybody in the world knows it. That's the thing. Everybody in the world knows this. Everybody. Maybe you as a consumer don't know this, But the people that can make things happen, maybe even like Darkseid, you know what? They know that this is a trivial exploit at best. It's waiting there to be taken for anybody. The reason I think they don't do this is because it's also nation-state problems. It's nation-state actors that will probably exploit this, and in a lot of ways, this almost constitutes an act of war, right? In the U.S., we don't hack outside of our country, at least, you know, on the unless it's some agency like no such agency and whatnot. But we generally think of hacking attacks coming out of the U.S. to other countries as the same authority as like releasing a nuke. You know, it's presidential authority to say this is authorized. That's why it's never done. And the same reason why we haven't released a nuke in other countries. Like, oh, we don't like you, nuke them. It has long-term potential consequences. Other countries may not suffer from these same problems that we are. I actually never checked my audio, so hopefully this is good. Okay, so first and foremost, of course, they're going to pay the ransom because they've not done their due diligence in years to solve these problems. They haven't had the appropriate people to come in and look at their network and figure out how they can solve these problems. Never did it. They didn't have a choice. Second, the company, the groups like Darkseid themselves, they're going to give them the key. They're going to let them decrypt because they have a business model. They're pirates, of course, you know, and pirates can't keep pirating people if they kill everybody, right? And second, Darkseid's already made it very clear that I think this target was unintentional because they know that they don't want to be the target of a nation state attack, right? And in the U.S., we don't do nation state attacks like cyber like this very often because, quite frankly, we don't have the skill set in this country and we rely too much on kinetics. So they're probably more scared of the U.S. coming in with people to freaking shoot them in the face than they are of us taking them down through, you know, legal channels or through hacking or whatnot. Lunch. Anyways, so when the FBI says we should never pay ransoms, what has other Democratic parties done over the years? We've paid ransoms when we say that we will not acquiesce to terrorism, and then we do things like sending Jesse Jackson to rescue people. Of course we acquiesce. This country's been based upon not caring about each other. We'll just buy insurance for it. And I guarantee if the U.S. government got owned like this, even a part of it, say the executive branch and D.C. got owned, which they would pay the ransom. Guarantee it. Are there ways around this? Absolutely. But companies have to realize that investing in their data and investing in the customers of their business, even if they're direct customers or indirect customers, is going to always benefit them. But these companies, you know, the C-level staff, they don't see the value in information security and data security. They do up to a point, but they think there's too many people out there that think that if you buy an appliance and plug it in, it's going to save the day. There's an old saying we had in the Army: a minefield that is unguarded is no minefield, right? And what that means is that you put a minefield out there to slow the enemy advance. We make them pause, and then we have them kind of boxed in an area so we can attack them. But if nobody's watching them, they can take their time and go through that minefield. Then it's not hard to go through a minefield. It's maybe a little expensive. You know, you have to get your MIC-licks and stuff out there, but it's not terribly hard. And if nobody's watching the minefield, it's just like a lock on a door. If the lock is on the back on a door in some alley and there's no camera watching it, you think somebody's going to cut that lock? Absolutely. Why not? There's nobody watching it. What's the repercussions? Absolutely nothing. Right? There's no repercussions. It's your repercussions for not doing more to secure that lock and to secure that door. And but the criminal is just going to do what a criminal does. Pirates are going to do what pirates do. Okay. If you want, and if you're a small business owner, a medium-sized business owner, or whatever, you ever come across this freaking video, if you don't invest in changing your corporate culture, shoring up your corporate policies on information security, data security, and your critical infrastructure, if you're not getting this culture, acceptance by the, your employee group, you're just kind of putting it out there in a PowerPoint for somebody to review once a year, but because that doesn't do anything. And people are like, I acknowledge, great, I got work to do. They could care less. You have to make it a part of the routine. Just like if you are a person that goes to the gym every day, thinking about the gym once a year, like, oh yeah, I should go to the gym. It's healthy for me to do. Doesn't make you fit. Actually walking the walk makes you a fit person, right? Of course, these companies are going to have to pay the ransom. They spent years not doing their due diligence. And I don't care who you blame it on. It doesn't change the facts. And I don't care. Nothing changes the facts that they're going to pay the ransom. They will pay the ransom, because here's a simple fact of the matter. They pay the ransom, and every time a company pays the ransom, it's an acknowledgement that they haven't done their job. Now, is it true that maybe a company could be compromised and held ransom and they've done everything right? Yeah, but that's a much harder target. And pirates don't go after hard targets. Pirates don't go after the warships over there off of Eastern Africa. They go after the soft targets, right? They go after the ships that have no armaments and they can't outrun them. They can't shoot them down, right? Pirates don't go after hard targets. So, yeah, is it true that, like how the RSA attack a few years back should have been a very hard target, still compromised in the most simplest way, a social engineering attack. All of this is I guarantee every one of these ransomware attacks starts with a social engineering attack. Social engineering attacks tell me that they don't have a culture of security and they don't care about the product that they're delivering. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. Anyways, that's my rant. If you come across this, this is my response to Tim. Tim should know better, I think, because he says he's got a background in hacking and so forth. He should understand the culture a little bit more. And I'm also wanting to weigh in as some guy that's done this for a very long time. And I do have a very good, different take on it. Hence why I'm starting up my business again to start addressing some of this. Anyways, everybody, have a great day.